Early support services here at Kindering are essential. We are able to provide services to children birth to 3, and especially children that are in the NICU that have been premature. And it's so essential that we get them in as soon as possible.
Maisie brings so much joy to our lives. I can't imagine our lives without her. She is just so happy all the time.
All of the nurses and doctors would describe her as like feisty, spicy, and that has absolutely continued.
Maisie was born very premature, about 3 months and 11 days premature. Maisie was in the NICU for 125 days. Her lungs were underdeveloped. Her heart had basically a hole between the chambers of her heart. In addition to that, she ended up with a hospital-borne infection that nearly took her life.
Those first days in her birth were completely different than anything we had experienced before. Going into it, feeling like we knew what to expect, having a third child, and then having that completely 180 degrees was very disorienting. I remember Steven just saying, she is too small. You can't survive being this small. She was so little.
When Maisie came home, she was on oxygen 100% of the time, and she had a nasogastric feeding tube, or NG tube.
One of the most overwhelming points was about a month after she came home. We would be battling with getting her to take the bottle, and she just wouldn't take it, and her weight every time that we would go to the pediatrician would just drop. And the pediatrician told us she's not going to be able to do this. She's not sustaining herself with a bottle, and so we need to talk about kind of escalating the level of intervention that she's getting. To know, oh my gosh, we're going back to the hospital. What does this mean for her future? Is she gonna be on feeding support for the rest of her life? Is she ever gonna eat independently? That feeling of backstepping was so hard and made me just really, really spiral.
The first time that I met Maisie, she is a small and mighty and just a persistent little fighter. I started as her feeding therapist, and then as she grew, we addressed speech and language within that, but it's always kind of been tied to and incorporated into her feeding development. For Maisie, when we first started services with her for feeding therapy, what was essential for her was to be able to take the bottle, be able to develop a strong suck, swallow, breathe coordination.
Wow. I think about how heavy and scary this journey has been, how overwhelming and how alone we have felt for so much of it. I can't begin to imagine navigating all of this without having the support of Kindering. I really think about what an absolute lifeline our therapists have been for us and for our family.
We've been working on every sort of milestone regarding feeding development for her from the very beginning. Going from thickener to solids to learning how to eat different varieties of foods and different textures to now today where she's learning how to increase her caloric intake, so being able to put weight on her. And it's been so special to see all of her family members be a part of her journey.
We talk a lot about or joke a lot that Maisie's going to work when she's meeting with her therapist, and she loves work. This is a job that she absolutely adores. all of those kind of developmental things Maisie is so tuned into now. Like, she knows these are the times that we're working on these skills, and she gets kind of in the zone and takes it very seriously.
Our older children, Liam, who's 12, and Darcy, who's 9, when they're not at school or on vacation, they get to become full participants in Maisie's therapy sessions. That's always really exciting, and they really enjoy it.
Lindsay, Maisie's speech therapist, and Julianne's, Maisie's occupational therapist. Darcy was saying that she viewed herself as their assistant, that she too is a tiny occupational therapist and a tiny speech therapist. Our older kids love when we tell them, okay, Miss Julianne gave you like this job to do. Like, you need to be working on this with Maisie. You need to be helping her with, walking up and down the stairs. And they take their job so, so seriously.
To see where she's at now and to know how hard she's had to fight to get to where she's at, I just know that she's going to do amazing things in this world.
Oh, thank you for sharing.
It's been life-changing for us to get support from Kindering, to just know along the way through Maisie's development that someone's with us, someone's by our side. I can't imagine the experience without support from Kindering. We've benefited so much. We just wish that any other family in need could experience the same benefits.
In the NICU, watching her struggle, my dreams at that point was just that she would survive. Telling her that story and seeing the pictures is really gonna help remind her as she grows of just how much power she has and how much fight she has.